live in the studio. What is this studio?
Exactly.
Someday it'll be a studio.
This is basically a table with a couple of chairs. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, when we introduced this as a temporary studio,
Yeah.
it was just like,
Temporary.
a week or two.
I mean, what
here
does
we are a
temporary-
couple months later.
What does temporary
But we
mean?
had different priorities.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
We
that's what
got
it came down
other-
to. We
yeah.
could have built a podcast studio if we cared.
No, yeah.
If that
If
we
that was
want
the
to.
priority.
That was the priority, exactly.
Yes. What you're going to talk about.
So this podcast came from just some general reflections I was having, seeing how much noise is out there with social media, other podcasts, and even our own podcast about so much content we're putting out there, so many things people are listening to, hearing. And sometimes it can be quite overwhelming. And also sometimes you feel like there's so much out there that you almost just want to turn it off, right? You just don't want to. And what do you listen to?
Yeah, it's hard to discern.
Yes.
Right.
Then the other thing I was noticing is sometimes somebody will read a book, listen to a podcast, completely fall out of their tree because they hear something and they just haven't really vetted that against strong fundamental principles for either running a business or life.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody will read a book and suddenly they're just a different person.
Yeah, I know we're going to get into it, but how would you even recommend vetting that? Like just looking into their experience, looking into what have they done? Have they built successful business? You know what I mean? Like how would you
Vetting
vet
content.
How would you vet that?
Yeah. Well, I think that was the motivation behind today, our podcast today, talking about business fundamentals. And I think that is it's almost, if you're a religious person, you vet certain ideas against your worldview.
Sure.
If you believe the Bible, you're going to say, well, that doesn't fit with what I believe, so therefore
Right.
it's wrong.
Mhm.
It's not right.
Yeah.
I think there's also an aspect of in business, you have a similar thing, but there's not a Bible.
Right. I'm like, we're not saying we have the Bible today.
Yeah. Right. And so there's almost like you hear, oh, that makes sense. And I think that's the thing,
Yeah.
though. A lot of things make sense. They
Yeah.
feel, they resonate with you.
Yeah.
They say, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. So what we want to do today, we want to zoom way out
Yeah.
and focus on fundamental principles of business.
Yeah.
Sound fundamentals that we can all agree on of saying that's the big picture.
Yeah. I think the zoom out is super helpful because a lot of times, content channels, creators, books focus on one aspect
Mhm.
of business, which is not wrong in
We do it
itself.
too.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all of our episodes,
Yeah.
I think, because you're like, it's too big to talk about a business at, just let's talk about business,
Yeah.
where you can go a million directions,
Right.
And so I think that's why I think it's natural to have a topic, a specific thing you're talking about. But yeah, I think that goes back to the purpose of today is like, hey, let's zoom out and actually see in not depth, but large scale what we're going after.
The other thing that we hopefully get out of this today is that it simplifies something that sometimes gets very complex feeling and sometimes overwhelming. If you're starting a business, you feel like, wow, I've got to work on my marketing, or it's like depending on the day,
Mhm.
you might have
Yeah.
a different priority.
So true.
And I think when we understand fundamentals, you can get the big picture and say, if I can get a B in that category,
Mhm.
that's good.
It's good.
That's
Yeah.
great. I can get a C in that category. I'm getting better.
Yep.
And so
Go for a B next year, whatever.
Yes,
Yeah. Improvement.
exactly. And so at the heart of business is value. We've talked about it on previous episodes before, but today we're going to use this as sort of like there's an engine of business, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's value creation
Yeah.
is there's really like a three pillars of the engine of business, and they're centered around value.
Yeah.
Value that you create.
Yep.
So in a value creation scenario, you really exist to serve other people.
Yeah.
You are a business that they're saying, here's a problem.
No, I exist to make money or whatever, Some people are saying.
Which is also true.
But you have to.
Yes,
Solve
but
a problem.
in the value creation
Have to serve.
aspect of
Yeah.
business,
So
you
true.
exist to solve a problem, to fulfill a desire, to meet a need.
Mhm.
And I think this is so crucial. Like this is the fundamental principle to business is like there's value creation.
Yeah.
So
Is there a need?
yes,
Yeah.
and I think sometimes we get a little lost in this too. I remember when I first started my first business, I overthought the uniqueness of the business. You don't have to be that unique.
Yeah.
Everything's been done before.
Yeah.
You don't have to be something totally different.
Yeah.
And there's uniqueness to
Sure.
each of us as people.
Well, yeah, we're all unique, right?
Yes. But nonetheless, I mean, that is the beauty of it. So own the personality side of it.
Mm.
Don't focus as much on the product side. You just need to find that niche of just being like, oh, this is the aspect of business that I'm comfortable with. It fits my
Yeah.
personality, and
Yeah.
it's different. It resonates, right?
Yeah.
You're a consumer. It resonates with you.
And I think that idea is sort of freeing, because it feels like a lot of pressure to be like, oh, I have to be set apart. I have to be, different than everyone else. I have to, which you will be just naturally, is I think what we're saying. We're not saying you have to go fetch and find some quirky thing, to actually build a successful business or create value. You don't necessarily have to differentiate that. You will naturally do that based on how you fulfill who you are, how you show up, how you serve.
Yes, so good. In our town, not a very big town, 100,000 people. There's
more than that.
Is there more than that now? Okay.
So.
How many? What are we up to?
I don't know,
Okay,
but you're
All
gonna fact check me later.
Sam will let us know. But whatever. It's not. It's less than 250,000 people. I think. Yeah. We might be over that now. Kinsey's like, yeah. All right. Okay.
Sam,
I'm gonna go with 125,000. Yeah.
I want to know. Look it up, Sam.
All right, Mr. Producer will tell us. But I think there's probably 3,000 construction related businesses in our town, and it's there's a lot of people doing the same things.
Yeah,
there's multiple
true.
electricians and there's multiple plumbers and
lots of remodelers,
and you need that.
Yep.
Competition is healthy, so don't be scared by the competition. Own your little space.
Yeah.
And what's a positive to one person is a negative to somebody else.
So
That's in
true.
the sense you might be young and green
So
and hungry to just start something new.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody might look at that saying that's exactly the person I want.
Yep.
Someone else says, no, I want somebody who's been in business for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I want an established person that's done this many, many times before.
For sure.
So it's not a negative. It's just a negative to somebody.
Yep.
And you don't want to win everybody.
That's good.
So,
yeah, no, that's good.
Market fit is another thing to focus on too. Is like, is there a demand for your product or service? I mean,
Do people want it?
that's essential too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we just come up with a crazy idea and there's just no demand.
Like, I have the best idea ever. Like, yes.
Yes.
Does anybody else think that? Yeah.
We can get a little delusional.
Yeah.
You find it, Sam?
Yes, 170,000.
Okay.
170,000.
370 in the metro area.
Okay. 370 Metro. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Right.
it's all right.
It's a big number. All right.
I've been shocked
Yeah.
that I'm right about a
170, yeah.
statistic. I'm not the fact
It's grown.
person.
Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah. I like it. Challenging things. It's good.
Like, we don't want to be lying on our podcast.
No. That's one thing we don't do. As long as we can help it, no intentional lies.
That's funny.
Another aspect of, so you have this value creation, you understand this market fit, you have a service that you provide, and now you have to perform.
Yeah.
You have to deliver it. So
Mhm.
value delivery is the next
Yeah.
fundamental of business.
So number one, value creation. You got to create value.
Yep.
Number two, delivery.
Delivery. And this one is essential. I mean, operational effectiveness, the ability to consistently deliver
Mhm.
your service.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's not easy
It's
to
probably
do.
one of the hardest things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think of the three
Depending on
pillars.
who you are,
Well,
too.
true.
I mean,
Yeah.
Some people, this
What
is
are your
the easiest
skills?
thing,
That's
and,
true.
but for us, that would be the hardest.
I think it's like the biggest opportunity for most people, though. With the delivery side of it is like how effective.
If nothing
can you,
else,
yeah.
if you have delivery, you have something.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Whether it works in the niche you're in or not, like you'll find if you can deliver, you'll find
Yes.
a way.
And sometimes people will help you with your weaknesses if you can deliver. I mean, how many times will somebody say, I'll sell for you because you're amazing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
so
Like,
true.
or
because they see opportunity.
Yes,
Like,
right.
this is- yeah,
And it follows from value creation. You're not effective in operations if you don't have some value creating. So, I mean, it does follow
True.
that.
Yeah.
And it's right from the systems and processes. And it sounds so mundane and boring, but it can be as simple as we do this particular checklist of 3-4 things and the delivery. If we build a deck, we do it this way.
It doesn't have to be fancy, I guess, is what we're saying
Yes.
either. It doesn't have to look polished
A checklist.
necessarily.
Yeah. It could just
Like
be a
1, 2,
basic-
3, 4, 5,
Yes,
6.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, sourcing materials. I mean,
Mhm.
you have a way. Who do you talk to? How do you go about
Is
doing
it
that?
efficient?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the story you share? Your dad told you not to
Oh, yeah.
go to Home Depot, right? Or the store or whatever.
Yep.
Supplier. Tell that story.
I
Good job.
was probably 13 years old, working summers with my dad. And he said, the first time you run out of something, so, you need a screw,
Yep.
A box of screws.
Yep.
You don't stop what you're doing and run to the store.
Hmm.
You keep going until you can't do anything else and then run to the
Like
store
you're
and buy
blocked
stuff.
everywhere.
I use
essentially.
that in personal life every day.
That's good.
I keep a list of things of, okay, on my phone, I have a list of things I want to get from our local supplier.
Yeah.
And that list keeps growing by the days. I
Yep.
mean, and I think I need screws. But now I discovered also,
I
I
know.
don't even know what else
Yeah.
is on that
What
list, but there's a
It's
bunch
the
of
end of the day.
things, depending on what I'm building. But there's a lot of things where that is just a hack, but it was
Yeah.
just a profound,
It's really good.
a life lesson.
Yeah.
Like, and how many grown adults
Yeah.
are running off to the store every time they run across something they need.
Yeah.
I mean, when I ran my business, I challenged my guys a little.
Well, that's
around
what I
that
was going to
principle.
say. I think that that's like a business efficiency piece.
Yeah.
That it's like you got to educate your guys on that too. If you're bought into that idea,
Yeah.
I think you should try it first of all,
Yeah.
so you get bought into
I
it.
mean, I had a guy living at Home Depot.
Yeah. Well, they
practically.
want to, yeah, people want to go take a break.
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
exactly. Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
wanna
go
go
get
to air
myself a
conditioning or
monster.
whatever.
And,
Yeah.
go look around at some
Exactly.
Milwaukee tools.
Sounds
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, right.
But it's super inefficient. You're losing money.
Yep.
That's the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
The customer experience. I mean, this is something that is so really crucial.
Yeah.
Every interaction that you have is shaping
Mhm.
your image.
Yeah. Your reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what people think of you. This is operations. This is,
Mhm.
being able to have a consistent customer experience
That's
where
right.
people are delighted with that experience.
Mhm.
They walk away saying, that James,
Yeah.
that Joe
Yep.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Because of how they were treated.
Yep.
And it's not enough to do it 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't mean you can't ever make mistakes, right? Like, because we all will. We'll all mess up in delivery or whatever that may be. Like, mistakes will happen. Your team will make mistakes, things like that. But it's how you handle the mistakes too.
So crucial. It's not the absence of errors.
Mhm.
It's how you address it.
Yeah.
And being very direct and owning it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a story
That's
that
good.
came into my head that I won't share.
Too many bad memories.
It was kind of interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think it's so, it's one of those aspects of business where it's so easy to blame. And, so many
Yes.
times where we can shift the blame to other people and this person is
I
the
know the story you're talking about. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway.
So I want to really highlight something very crucial here is you need to focus on mastering delivery before you focus on growth.
Mhm.
To just don't get ahead of yourself. Growth doesn't solve something
Yeah.
that poor delivery,
Mm.
poor operation systems and processes. Like you can't scale bad.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't fix something. It just makes it worse.
Yeah.
This is it's an illusion of like, well, if we're doing $50,000 and we're broke, we need to do $100,000 and we'll be better.
That's right.
It's not that.
Yeah.
It's operational efficiency. If you don't have it at $100,000, you
You're
won't
not
have it
gonna
at
have
$1
it.
million.
Yes.
You won't have it at 10 million.
That's good.
So don't scale. Don't focus on scale. until
And I
you
think
have it.
that's the temptation and a lot of why we're even talking about what we're talking about today. Because if you look at influencers, if you look at Instagram, social media, things like that, I'm like, you're looking at typically people who have scaled their business, right?
Mhm.
And so the temptation is, oh, I have to build what they have. But that doesn't mean that you have the delivery or the operational systems, things like that to support scale. So I think if people take nothing away,
Yeah.
but that's the one liner. Don't focus on growth until you master delivery.
And it's so alluring. It's so glamorous.
Sure.
It's like, I want that kind of a
Absolutely.
thing is what we all, we see that and say,
It's
well,
the dream.
scale,
It's
yeah,
the vision,
growth,
yeah. Mhm.
sustainability. I don't
The
have to
business
do all
is
the work
making money.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it just feels like that's where we should be after. But
Mm-hmm.
the delivery piece is where it's all at.
That's good. So value creation, value delivery, 2 pillars. What's the third pillar?
Capture.
Okay,
So
what's that
you
mean?
brought it up earlier, making money.
Oh,
So you did all this work. Are you making money doing it?
You're awesome at these things. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we created
That makes
value.
sense.
We delivered the value. Now, did somebody pay us to do it?
Yeah.
We have to have profit in order to be a sustainable business.
Totally.
And it's one thing that gets heavy focus in some, some content out there is heavily focused in this area, and
Right.
I think they should
It's
be.
good,
It
yeah.
should be, but it's just one pillar.
Yep.
So this reflects your pricing strategy. How do you charge people?
Mhm.
I had somebody do a service for me last week and charged $300, and they were there for probably half a day. And I just had thought to myself, I was just like, did he make money? I don't know. Like
Yeah.
he might be cleaning up, he might not. I don't know. But I'm just thinking to myself, sometimes that equation is very complicated.
Yeah.
Does he have a pricing strategy that works? And sometimes it's just barely making it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if he charged me $450,
Yeah.
I'd have been like, well, that's the rate. I mean, like, I don't know what fair is.
Right.
But he came out and did a very specialized service too,
Mhm.
which is the other thing of
Mhm.
not many people I can just call up who show up the next day and do what he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the same time, he's just saying, and then there's also friendship as a part
Did he
of it.
do you a solid or did he? Yeah.
Yes. But was I satisfied with the work is a big question. Yes,
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
There's the value creation was there.
Mhm.
The value delivery was there on time and done well.
Yep.
And now it's like, did he make a profit doing that?
That's a good question.
And so I think it's the perceived value is a key piece of this as well. What the customer perceives as the value, which is the whole process in which you use to get to the point of exchange of money,
Right.
where they're saying that's highly valuable to me to do
Yep.
what you just did.
Yep.
I've mentioned my drywall contractor before, amazing guy. And he's done so many jobs for me. He charged me $50 or $100 to show up and do a repair or something like that.
You're like, did that even cover the cost of
And I'm like,
getting
bro, I don't know if he covered the cost of his truck.
Yeah,
To show up,
Right.
like the gas to show up there, and did a solid. Now that's reputation. It could be branding, could be like marketing for him to show up, but nonetheless, those are the kinds of things I think of, as are a key piece
Mhm.
of the value capture.
Mhm.
Did we capture the value we provided?
Yeah.
In his case, he didn't.
Yeah.
And I told him that. I said, you can charge me for that. I want to pay you. And he did.
Yeah. You're like, well.
You want to pay? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to oblige.
Sounds good. I've never
he
heard
did
that
great,
before.
Yes. And I think the real key piece here is don't assume that scale will fix bad economics. Like if you're not making money, and I made this mistake of just thinking, well, if I scale my business, well, there'll be more money.
Bigger numbers. Yeah.
Bigger numbers. It's just bigger bad numbers.
Yeah.
Like if it's not making money at 100,000, it won't make money at 10 million. And so back to that whole principle there. So
Totally.
it rarely fixes it. And there are some cases where you have a base operating cost just for somebody that challenges that, where you're saying, well, I don't make money until I do $3 million of operation because of the upfront cost. We're in a business like that,
Yeah.
where it's like we have engineers and support staff and
Yep.
all those people to support
The
one
overhead's
customer
high.
is the same
Yep.
as supporting 1,000.
Yeah.
And so there's just there's an operational cost there.
It's
So there can be exceptions, but most of the time, bad unit economics
Mhm.
don't fix with scale.
Yeah, for sure. That's good.
Let's talk about strategy.
Okay.
Something we
about
do very
strategy.
often. Strategy is kind of, I think, a key piece of this is taking a step back sometimes and just looking at where we're at, where we're going. It gives direction, it gives boundaries. Strategies, I think even informs some of the value engine as well. Did that work? We'll touch on sort of the tracking and metrics here in a little bit.
Well, I think strategy is the precursor to a lot of those pillars, that we talked about, value creation and delivery and capture. Like you have to have strategy up front in order to even know who you're going after, who are you serving, those kinds of things. But then strategy is something that you're also always coming back to of like, are we doing the right things? Do we need to shift? Are we, focused in the right niche? Are we, serving the right people?
Yeah.
So strategy is a constant revisiting, a constant thing that as a business owner, as a leader, that you must focus on.
Yeah. I think one of the key pieces of strategy that we didn't talk about earlier is who do we not serve is almost more important
That's
than
good.
who do we do serve. And it sometimes feels very disrespectful as a new business owner to say, I'm going to pick out people that I don't serve. But this is a key piece of it. I mean, I might not be somebody's ideal customer.
Yeah.
If I say this is what I want,
Yeah.
what I need done, and that's not what they provide.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be, or it might be a perfect fit. So identifying who do you not serve. So when you have that conversation, like I'd love to help you, but that's not what I do, and it doesn't have to be disrespectful.
Totally.
But I think there's bad tension is caused in a relation, and sometimes you shift to the strategy point. Who you serve shifts over time as you gain skills and experience,
As
and
you
then
grow.
the clients that you used to serve are maybe the ones you shouldn't be serving anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we talked about that, touched on it a little bit earlier, is, you're not serving everyone. And so, you might be somebody who's, I'm doing work fast and cheap. I'm working with residential or real estate developers or whatever to flip houses or, things like that. They're wanting to make huge profits, things like that. They're wanting to pay you. Get in there, do it fast, do it cheap, make it aesthetically nice,
Yep.
but not like high end.
It's
Not
custom.
multi-million dollar homes or things like that. And so two totally different audiences there. You could do exactly the same type of work, but in two totally different contexts.
Yeah. Strategy is often about what not to do, who not to serve. It's about focus, about priorities. I mean, you think about the most successful people, I think I think this is a universal truth, that success follows the ability to prioritize the most important things. If you can accomplish the 2 or 3 most important things you need to get done today, as opposed to all of the noise
true.
that's around you. I mean, there's a lot of noise. Email. I mean, you can spend hours looking through emails instead of like being ruthless and like that's a distraction.
Absolutely.
Delete.
Yep. It's not emergent.
It's not exactly. I mean, these are the things I need to take care of and I need to get to work. And so focus and priorities are a key piece of strategy. Let's talk about a fun topic for you, Kinsey. Marketing and sales is a fundamental.
Yeah, I think, and we're not trying to deep dive into like how do you market and how do you sell. We have episodes on that, obviously you guys should go back and listen to. I think we even talked a little bit about it on the last episode.
We've got more coming on that too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and
Yeah.
we'll constantly talk about it, and it'll evolve, and that's just how marketing works. Is it's constantly changing. But I think at its basis, it is a fundamental. Like marketing and sales, you have to bring in business, and you have to introduce your business to people, and that's essentially what marketing and sales is the avenues that you're introducing your business to your potential customers. And I think the big piece of that is you have to know, back what we were talking about earlier, you have to know who you serve, what the value that you bring is, so that your message can be clear and it can be consistent and you're not confusing people.
Yeah. It's aligned with who you are.
Yeah.
That is something that it's really crucial, because you might be very adept at understanding what your audience wants to hear as opposed to what you deliver and value.
Yeah.
That was me when I first started. This is what people want to hear, but can I deliver that? Is that even me?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and if you're hiring somebody to help with that too, an agency or, somebody on your team is doing that, like, are they in the loop on what you can deliver and how well you can deliver it, and, in timeliness and things like that?
be ruthless with interrogating the marketing content if you have an outside agency creating anything for you. Where if you say that's not me,
They don't know
just
your
own it.
business. Yeah.
Don't just because they're
pretend.
experts in marketing, they're just creating content around generics. And if they create something for your business and they say, on time, prompt, amazing, whatever, and you're like, well, actually, we're just struggling to like that. We're
Don't
not.
lie to people.
We're 12 months out. We don't do things on
Yeah.
promptly.
Yep.
That's not us. We're
Yeah.
just high quality, high end work,
Yeah.
and we'll get to you when we get to you.
Yeah.
If that's you, well, then make sure that's your content aligns with
Yeah.
that. Maybe
Yeah.
it's a poor example, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, you get the point.
Yeah, one thing I would also challenge is, like, on the agency side, I know not a lot of contractors are probably hiring agencies, but if you don't have any reviews, if you don't have a website, if you don't have a way for a marketing agency to know who you are, and it's just like your word, you telling them, it's constantly going to be a blocker, and that content is not going to be effective or in line with your brand. So I think that's a piece of, like, if the reference point, just be careful with agencies.
Yeah.
I've worked with them, and
Yeah.
they're great. They serve a purpose. They serve a need. Like, I know all of those things, but it is challenging to speak the voice of your company when you don't know your company.
You have a very interesting story here, because you obviously worked your way up to great success in a marketing agency before us working together here.
Yeah.
And I think you've been able to experience both sides of that, because in our business we've used agencies for different tasks, and we've experienced frustration around using agency for different things.
Yeah.
And also some success,
Yeah.
but mostly some challenge. And I think if we're going to narrow that down, one of the crucial pieces of working with anybody as an outsourced resource is to really have it nailed down. This is exactly what I want. And if you don't have that, they will never get it to you.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you need somebody to help you with that, it's probably not an agency you need. You need somebody with wisdom and experience, or a friend, or somebody that's good at that, and can say, hey, can help me strategize, and what is the content around my value creation engine.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to dog agencies in this podcast. Like,
it's
again,
expensive, and
they
sometimes
serve
just
a need.
misaligned.
Yeah, it's just very easy to get misaligned, and you have to think of an agency's perspective too, of, like, you're not their only customer.
Yeah.
You're one of 200 or
And
whatever the
they're
number
there
is.
to make money too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Hmm.
I just think it's like how much you care about your business and how much an agency actually cares about your business is often very far apart.
Yeah.
Not that they're not trying to do a great job. Anyway.
Back to the fundamentals. So just to kind of a recap, the marketing aspect of it is how you attract people, and then sales is converting them to action, right?
Yes,
So it's like,
yes.
who do we actually want to close, and creating the pricing and contracts and everything else around that is auxiliary to it as well.
Yes. But marketing sales is a fundamental. If it's not something you're doing, you need to level up there.
Yeah. Let's move on to the people and culture aspect of fundamentals in business. And sometimes culture it seems like a big business word, but we all have culture, whether or not we know it or not.
Yeah.
Even a one-person business has culture. It's just one person centered around that person's personality, their value system, how they lead, how their vision, et cetera. That's the culture of that one-person show.
Right.
And as soon as you add something to it, if there's misalignment, if the second person added to the company doesn't mesh with that person as the leader's method of leading,
That's right.
their vision, their value system, it's going to be very difficult.
Constant struggle, oil and water.
Yeah. I think people can be an amazing resource, an asset to your business, or they can reduce the value that you bring in a huge way. So I think in order to effectively lead people, you need vision, you need clear direction. I think there's also an aspect of like you are what you tolerate too in business as well.
That's true.
If stuff just lets slide. I know one of the hardest things for me, because I'm very peaceful person. Like I really don't like conflict. I don't know where that comes from exactly, but I don't like it at all. And I've had to learn to embrace some aspect of not conflict in the sense, let's just go duke it out and go, get,
But like, let's have a
bare
conversation.
knuckles and let's go pound it out. But nonetheless, it needs to be direct is to be kind.
Yeah.
And to be able to tell somebody, I mean, I would, and I think it's reciprocal too. I mean, I'd want you to tell me, hey, Ben, you messed up, if that's what happened. You know what I mean? It's something that to just harbor the negativity without having a conversation about it is it's just toxic.
Yeah. Well, it's just where resentment grows and your team culture gets significantly affected in that way. And I don't know if you guys have heard the term, but like, you'll create cancers within your team who are just constantly negative, and then that cancer just spreads and it feeds, into the business. So
and sometimes when you blow it, I mean, I've had moments where I'm like, you know what, this started off on the wrong foot. This is not aligned anymore.
Yep.
What I hired this person for is just, whatever it is. It's just, they're not delivering what I need them to do. Sometimes you just need to say, okay, whatever it is, I don't need to run this person down on the way out, but I can just let them know this is not aligned anymore. And you don't have a duty of loyalty to the point of sabotaging your business.
Yeah, that's
People
true.
are talented. They can find jobs elsewhere.
That's
and
true.
so sometimes you just need to say, okay, let's reset employees.
Yep.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's really more about us than we really
That's
realize.
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was like, it's typically not all about the other person. It's how do we tee them up? Did we hire them for the right role? Some of those kinds of things. So make sure if that's the case, you just are reflecting on, hey, where did I not assist or support or tee up or, those kinds of things. So make sure you reflect on that too.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen by itself either. Like, whatever we push for. And sometimes we expect more from people than we ever should. People will reflect the leadership that we provide them.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving through a lot here, and I hope this is helpful to you guys, because I think it's just you have this value creation engine, you're delivering it operationally, you're now capturing value from it. You have this marketing, sales, you have people, you're leading a team. I mean, these are the fundamentals of business that's sustainable, that scales.
Yes.
Then there's the aspect of, okay, are we measuring this? Do we have reporting? Do we know where we're at, where we're going? And preferably, you need to know some of this stuff ahead of time as well. And also, like, ideation, iteration towards better. Like, it's not perfect. You mentioned this earlier. Like, mistakes happen. They will, inevitably. We make mistakes, and we need to say, okay, what do we do about it the next time?
How do we avoid that?
How do we learn from that?
Yeah.
And so if we don't take the time, though, to look at, key performance indicators, the KPIs, which is kind of a fancy word to say what happened.
It's so true.
Did it work?
Is it working?
Yeah. But nonetheless, identifying, though, I think what one thing we get from that fancy word is, what are the metrics? What are the pieces of the puzzle, or really the pieces of the report we need to be looking at?
Yeah.
Of just like, this stat matters. For us, it's like, this number is what drives our business.
Yeah.
And when that number is there, we're healthy. If it's not there, we got a problem. And so I think you need to identify those in your business.
What do you feel like some of those are? Obviously, they're going to be unique for different businesses. If you have large teams, if you have large, it's going to be unique. But what are a few of those key metrics in a construction business?
I'm glad you pointed that out, because it comes back to those fundamentals in the sense. So this is like how we track the fundamentals, but it's the creation. How well are we doing with the creation? Like, are we creating the right services? There's the demand for it.
Yeah.
Operationally, like, are we delivering things on time? Are we keeping our word?
Are we consistent?
Are we making money? So, and that would be profit and loss. You know what I mean? So those are the things where we're tracking the value. We're tracking the fundamentals.
Yeah.
So we have the fundamentals. Now we need to track them.
Got it.
And I think one of the things too that, and maybe it belongs in a different order in this podcast, but finances, cash flow management, this is a fundamental of business too. Budgeting. And I've seen so many times and made this mistake myself, where you see people spend money at the wrong time. It's not that you shouldn't buy a new truck. It's not that you shouldn't buy a new set of tools. It's when you bought those things. Was it at the tail end of a job when you had something else teed up, ready to go, and you knew where you're at with that project? Well, that might be a good time to spend money. Right in the middle of a project when you just, you don't know if you're going to make money or lose money.
Yeah.
Probably not the time to go spend money like you already have it in the bank.
That's a good
and
point.
so I think there's capital strategies,
That's
like
wisdom.
putting your money to work for you. So
It's good.
I think that's key. And I think we mentioned some of the traps being so seductive, like growth being so like, oh, we want that.
Yeah.
I think also like if you don't have margin, growth can feel like it's fun, it's fascinating. We're
so
growing.
true.
We added 10 people. We had $5 million of
challenging,
revenue.
yep.
I mean, like this is a common thing. Like we
True.
all want that, and so
Yeah.
I think I'm not talking to anyone. If you feel like I am, it's like it's what I mean. Like it's something we all want.
Yeah.
In the sense of we want value.
Right.
We want all of these things,
Yep.
but it's the big picture.
Yeah.
Zooming out,
That's
having this all together. What
Love
I
it.
mean, what do we miss?
No,
what,
I think
what are your thoughts?
I think I'd love to hear, like, just in comments what people feel like we missed in some of the fundamentals. Like, what else have you experienced that you feel should deserve a fundamental, shout out? And I think really just like it'd be fun to like go into a little bit more detail. And again, we have some podcasts. It'd be cool if we could like link to some podcasts that we have that kind of relate to some of these fundamentals in the description. So you guys can check that out. We'll add in some of those other episodes that you guys can check out. But I think it's good. I think obviously it's high level. It's not like, okay, now practically, how do I go do that? But I think a lot of those other episodes are a little bit more practical. And so just really wanting you guys to understand, like, zoomed out, here's the fundamentals and where are we winning and where aren't we? And how can we improve, and let's re-strategize.
We should probably post some show notes on this just to kind of like what these fundamentals are.
Yeah.
And the goal for us behind this podcast was not to overwhelm with you guys with a bunch of things, but to really actually simplify things.
Yeah.
The things you're listening to,
Mhm.
the people you're listening to,
Yeah.
the things you're doing, do they align with fundamentals? Like, are they,
That's good.
are they auxiliary? Sometimes it's just a distraction
Mhm.
as opposed to being like value creation, so crucial.
Mhm.
The delivery engine, so crucial. And you can kind of get focused in one category too
Mhm.
much.
And then you're missing out on
And you're
others.
missing out. Yeah.
That's good.
So
So good.
what you guys are doing is hard. Keep up the fantastic work.
Yeah.
Excited about getting some feedback on this
Yeah.
show, and hope we can kind of cipher through all of the different, including ours, and the
Yeah.
content you hear here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not trying to pretend
Yeah,
that we're,
no.
everything
This is
either,
not,
but
this
yeah.
is not the Bible of
Totally.
fundamentals, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, hopefully these are some universally accepted principles of
Mhm.
like strong, healthy business.
Yeah.
And healthy business, I mean, obviously business is about creation. It's about operating. It's about
Sustainability.
sustainability. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it really is. I mean, just
Mhm.
about
Making
being able
money.
to grow too,
Absolutely.
whatever that growth looks like.
Nice.
Okay.
I love it.
All right,
We'll catch
guys.
you guys next time.